Student, in the last video we have discussed about the nutrition. Now second step is cellular respiration. Cellular respiration, that is oxidation of the nutrients in the mitochondrial cell. Respiration takes place in the mitochondria, and here is the oxidation of the food or nutrients take place, and that is called respiration. And by the oxidation of the nutrients, this food release, these nutrients release the energy. It is the catabolic process. Catabolic process means breakdown of the nutrients or glucose into the simple substance. That is catabolic process. Our body completed two steps, metabolic process and catabolic process. Metabolic process means synthesis of the various compounds, and catabolic process means breakdown of the various compounds. Here cellular respiration is of two types, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic mode of respiration, in which oxidation of the food in presence of the oxygen. Just like the human and all animals, they respire by the aerobic process. Anaerobic process, oxidation of the food in the absence of oxygen. If there is no oxygen and they oxidize the food, then that organism are called anaerobes, and the process is called anaerobic respiration. Example is yeast. Now breakdown of the glucose by the various pathways. There are the different pathways for the breakdown of the glucose. First, glucose is the 6 carbon compound C6H12O6, and here the glycolysis, breakdown of the glucose by the process of glycolysis, and it will break down into the pyruvate 3 carbon compound and also release energy. It is completed in the 3 steps. First is absence of the oxygen. Absence of oxygen, that is an aerobic process. That is, it forms the ethanol plus carbon dioxide and also release energy. This takes place in the yeast. Second is lack of oxygen. This takes place in the muscles. When you do vigorous exercise, then their muscles start pain and you feel pain in your muscles. Some lactic acid deposited in your muscles, and with this some energy is released. This is lack of oxygen. Now the presence of oxygen. Presence of oxygen means aerobic respiration. This takes place in the mitochondria, and carbon dioxide, water and energy is released, and this takes place in the human being and mostly animals. This energy is released in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It is formed from the ADP and phosphorus. ADP, adenosine diphosphate, combined with the phosphate and form the ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. This is the energy currency of our body, and it provides energy to our body. We will discuss about the human respiratory system. Human respiratory system. It started from the nose. This is nasal cavity. This is nasal cavity. Upper to the buccal cavity, there is a cavity starting from the nose, that is called the nasal cavity, and these are nostrils. In your nasal cavity, there are some here. These filter the air. Filter the air. And this nasal cavity also acts as AC. It maintains the level of the air or temperature of the air according to the lungs. Here is another slippery substance that is called mucus. That is called mucus. Now, this is called trachea. Trachea. This is called trachea. Here is a flap-like structure that is called glottis. This glottis, then we will take food. Then it closes the windpipe or nasal cavity. And when we respire, then it will close the food pipe or the buccal cavity. This is called glottis. Now this trachea divide into the two bronchus, and these bronchus enter into the two lungs, and this is bronchus or bronchi. These bronchi further divided into the branch structure. These are called bronchioles. Bronchioles. These bronchioles end into a balloon-like structure. These are called air sac. Air sac. These lungs covered with a membrane that is called pleura. Pleura. Here is another membrane that separates the stomach and thoracic region, that is diaphragm. That is diaphragm. Now, when we inhale air, that process is called inhalation. Inhalation means inhale of O2 or oxygen. When we inhale oxygen, then these here filter the air and stop the dust particle and insect here, and also control the temperature of the air, and this mucus makes the protect the nasal cavity lining from the hot or cold temperature and any other harmful substance, and then this air moves from the windpipe to the lungs. In the lungs, here air sacs, they are attached with the blood vessels. Blood vessels. These blood vessels take the oxygen and send it to the different body parts into the body, and now again oxidation takes place and release carbon dioxide and energy. Energy is used by the body, and this carbon dioxide brings back by the blood vessels to the lungs, and then this carbon dioxide expelled out by the nasal cavity. Inhalation means inhale of O2, that is in thoracic cavity. Chest cavity is called thoracic cavity. This thoracic cavity volume increase. When this thoracic cavity volume increase, then we inhale maximum of oxygen and the pressure will decrease. This is controlled by the intercostal muscles. Here are ribs, and with the ribs there are some intercostal muscles in the lungs, and these control the mechanism of breathing. Now the exhalation. Exhalation means exhale of carbon dioxide. Exhale of carbon dioxide. That is thoracic cavity. Volume decrease. When its volume decrease and the pressure increase. When the pressure increase in this thoracic cavity, then due to this extra pressure, this carbon dioxide is exhaled out. Thank you.